Every girl dreams of her wedding day. For me, it wasn't just a dream. It was the finish line of a marathon I had been running for 5 years. My name is Emily. I'm 26, and I work double shifts as a nurse. My fiance James is a mechanic. We aren't rich. We built our life dollar by dollar, saving everything we could in a joint account we nicknamed the Future Fund. $50,000, that was the number. Enough for the wedding, the honeymoon, and a down payment on a starter home. My mother Linda was my best friend. Or so I thought. Since my dad passed away 10 years ago, it was just the two of us against the world. She was the grieving widow, and I was the dutiful daughter who stepped up. I paid her bills when she was short. I co-signed her car lease when her credit took a hit. I trusted her with my life. And crucially, I trusted her with access to the future fund. "Put my name on the account, honey," she had said, her eyes watering. "In case of emergencies. What if something happens to you? You need a beneficiary." It made sense. She was my mom. She would never hurt me. Last Friday was supposed to be magical, the final fitting for my wedding dress. It was a custom gown, costing $3,000. A splurge, yes, but I had worked extra night shifts for 6 months to pay for it. I stood on the pedestal, the silk hugging my frame perfectly. My mom was sitting on the velvet couch, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. "You look like an angel, Emily," she whispered. "Your father would be so proud." I felt like a princess. I walked to the counter to pay the final balance. I handed the boutique owner my debit card, the one linked to the future fund. She swiped it, frowned, swiped it again. "I'm sorry, Emily," she said softly. "It says insufficient funds." I laughed nervously. "That's impossible. There's over $50,000 in there. Try it again." She did. Then she called the merchant bank. The look on her face changed from polite to pitying. "Emily, the bank says the account is overdrawn by $400. The room spun. I turned to my mom. I expected her to look shocked. I expected her to jump up and say there was a mistake, but she didn't. Linda looked down at her lap, suddenly very interested in her manicure. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Mom?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Mom, what happened to the money?" She stood up, smoothing her skirt, avoiding my gaze. Not here, Emily. Don't make a scene. We'll talk about it in the car." "No," I screamed, the angel turning into a panicked animal. "We talk about it now. Where is my $50,000? "I borrowed it," she snapped, her voice suddenly sharp, defensive. "I needed it. I was going to put it back. God, Emily, why are you being so selfish? It's just money." Just money. My wedding, my house, my 5 years of night shifts gone. But as I stood there in that unpaid for white dress, realizing my mother had stolen my future, I didn't know the worst part yet. The 50,000 was just the tip of the iceberg. The ride home was silent. I didn't cry. I was in a state of cold shock. When we got to her house, my childhood home, I demanded her phone and her laptop. "You're overreacting," she scoffed, lighting a cigarette with a shaking hand. "I got into a little debt. I used the money to pay it off. I'll pay you back when my investments pay out." "Investments?" My mother hadn't worked a steady job in 8 years. I logged into her email first. It was a graveyard of payment due notices, but not for electric bills or groceries. Also, they were from online casinos. Ruby Fortune, Spin Palace, Vegas Vault, daily deposits of $500, $1,000, $5,000. She hadn't paid off debt. She had gambled away my wedding fund on digital slot machines. But then I saw something that made my blood run cold. An email from Fast Cash Loans. "Dear Emily, your payment of $450 is overdue." Dear Emily? This was my mother's email account. I immediately went to annualcreditreport.com on my phone. My hands were shaking so bad I kept typing the wrong password. When the report finally loaded, I threw up in the kitchen sink. My credit score wasn't 750 like it was when I checked last year. It was 480. There were 11 credit cards opened in my name in the last 8 months. There was a personal loan for $20,000 taken out 3 weeks ago. There was even a car lease, a brand new Cadillac registered to Mead 6, but parked in my mother's garage. Total debt in my name, $185,000. I walked into the living room. My mother was pouring herself a glass of wine, acting like the victim. You stole my identity, I whispered. You used my social security number. You pretended to be me. She took a sip of wine, her face hardening. I carried you for 9 months, Emily. I raised you alone after your father died. I deserved a little happiness. I was winning. I was going to win it all back and buy you a better house. I did this for us. For us? I held up the phone. You opened a credit card in my name the day after I got engaged. You funded your gambling addiction with my credit score. James and I can't buy a house now. We can't even rent an apartment with this score. You didn't just steal my money, Mom. You killed my name. She slammed the glass down. So what are you going to do? Put your own mother in jail? You wouldn't dare. Think about what people will say. You'll destroy this family. She was banking on my guilt. She was banking on the fact that I was the good daughter. She was wrong. The good daughter died in that bridal shop. I left her house. I drove straight to the police station. Walking up those steps was the hardest thing I have ever done. Every instinct in my body screamed, "That's your mom. Protect her." But then I thought about James. I thought about the night shifts. I thought about the lie she told me while I was trying on my dress. If I didn't report this, I would be liable for the $185,000 debt. I would be bankrupt at 26. I sat down with a detective. I laid it all out, the bank statements, the credit report, the confession she made in the living room, which I had secretly recorded on my phone. "Are you sure you want to press charges?" the detective asked, looking at me with sad eyes. "Once we start this, you can't stop it. It's a felony, identity theft, wire fraud." I took a deep breath. "I'm sure." She didn't act like a mother. I can't act like a daughter. They arrested her 2 days later. She was at the casino, gambling with the last few dollars of my wedding fund. When they put the handcuffs on her, she screamed my name. She screamed that I was an ungrateful brat. She didn't scream that she was sorry. The aftermath was brutal. James and I had to cancel the wedding. We got married at the courthouse in our work clothes, no honeymoon. We are currently living in his parents' basement because my credit is ruined. It will take years to clean up the mess. I have to file affidavits for every single fraudulent account. I have to prove to every bank that it wasn't me. My mother is currently serving 3 years in state prison. I haven't visited her. I don't plan to. She writes me letters asking for money for the commissary. I burn them unopened. This is twisted trust. And my story is a warning to every young adult out there. We grow up thinking our parents are heroes. We think they always have our best interests at heart. But financial addiction turns people into monsters. Here's the lesson I learned the hard way. Freeze your credit. I don't care if you're 18 or 80. Go to the 3 bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, and freeze your credit files. It is the only way to stop someone from opening accounts in your name. If I had done this, my mother would have hit a wall the first time she tried to use my social security number. Don't give anyone, not even your parents, access to your main savings account. Love them, trust them, but verify everything. Because the person who knows your birthday, your mother's maiden name, and your first pet's name is the perfect candidate to steal your identity. Don't let your love become their leverage.